What does it mean to you to be able to, I know all the subsequent signings, but it started with Mike. What does it mean for you guys to get Mike back and get him back into the fold?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. My voice sounds a lot deeper on this thing. Mike, I think I remember when we did our press conference down in Vegas when we first acquired him and did that press conference with him and Boyan, and some of the same things that I thought would happen, his leadership, his ability to unite guys, to connect them. We were really excited back then, and these 2 years have been really, really good with him, and the opportunity for him to feel comfortable here, see what we're building here, his ability to connect with all parts of our organization, community, it just made a ton of sense for us to continue that partnership. So not something I assumed would happen after we had acquired him, but I knew that we would put our best foot forward for him to see what the Utah Jazz and Salt Lake City and the state of Utah are all about, and he's embraced all of that. So can't say anything more, but he unites our team, and I think gives us a different level that he's shown here in the last 2 years. So
was there at any point between the end of the season and getting the commitment this week that you guys were like, oh, we might lose him, or was it?
I'm not going to get into negotiations. I just think that he knew us very, very well, and we knew him well, and so the things that were important to him were important to us. He had one of his career years this past year, and there's a lot of things that go into it, mostly Mike's hard work and talent, but the ability for the organization coach to bring that out, I think he saw it as a good place. And again, I don't want to speak for him. I mean, you guys will talk to him here when he gets in town, but from our side, it was just a great excuse or reason to continue the partnership.
What made Rudy Gay the guy who you wanted to target with the taxpayer mid-level?
Yeah, I think, we do a ton of work during the season. Our staff, coaching staff included, and our front office staff, to just know the league. And at the end of every season, you always kind of take a look back and what are the things that you need or could target. And those opportunities, sometimes they come up in the off season, sometimes they come up through free agency, trade, draft. Rudy's experience, he's seen different programs and how they work, and he's continued to evolve his game into how he fits. And I think he offers things better in leadership, toughness, size at the four, another complement to Boyan and Royce and our other forwards. So I think he'll fit in great. Obviously, this was more of a nice to have on top with his relationship with Mike. That was, Rudy's here because of his own talent and him seeing what we're about, and I think he's excited about that, and we're excited to add him.
Did his relationship with Mike pay any mind to him to come here?
I think it probably gave him a little bit more comfort as he got into free agency and was able to have somebody that he knows and trusts to tell him about what the state of Utah is like, the Utah Jazz, and what coach is like, and what we're all about. So I'm sure it gave him some comfort level here, but whether he knew Mike or not, it obviously didn't hurt that with their relationship. But he's a guy that I think makes a lot of sense for our roster.
I think the most surprising move of the bunch was Hassan Whiteside, and curious kind of how that came to be, and then what you think he's going to add as, in that center.
Sure. Hassan's got a huge load of talent. Obviously has had some very, very successful seasons and highly paid throughout his career in the NBA. I think the role that we had, which is a real role, a role every night, and in the event of injury, he's a guy that started games for playoff teams. So, on every NBA player has their own journey, and I think that we've shown an ability here with our coaching staff and our player development and our healthcare group to be able to optimize players, that are about those things, and feels like Hassan is. and could be a great chance for us to address a position where we can have 48 minutes of rim protection, ability to stay big and play big, but also have the other options on the roster. And his experience and his productivity, I think, could fit in well, and I know he's excited to get in here. I think Mike Conley and Rudy Gay and Joe Ingles and all of our other veterans and Donovan and Rudy Gobert, I think can help him speed up that process. He's played against us a lot, so he knows us.
You mentioned kind of the flexibility you have at the 5, and Rudy Gay played a little bit there with the Spurs last year. Obviously, you've got this other new signing or trade that we can't talk about, but kind of what does that flexibility give you compared to maybe last season, and are you excited about that?
We trust Coach implicitly, and we have a very good partnership together to work on helping design a roster that can give our coaching staff and our players to be able to be put in the best opportunity to win, whether that's a matchup, regular season, getting through the regular season, being ready for the playoffs. Most importantly with any sort of roster build is health. And sometimes it requires a lot of luck, no matter how diligent you are about it, players, coaches, health performance. So we just want to be able to give coach and players opportunities to find the best fit possible. So every team, every year has different things that, can be opportunities to improve on. And I think these additions give us a chance to do that.
What do you hope you got better at this offseason with these additions?
I just think, we've done a good job with developing players at different stages in their career, whether it's rookies or guys coming from overseas or even late career parts. What you always hope for in a season is just every season's kind of its own entity, and going in, a little bit of change along with a good amount of continuity, some lessons learned, and an ability to go forward. But, health, good fortune, being connected, staying connected, all of those things are important. And our guys know each other. They're good dudes. And, I think that'll help the new guys get acclimated.
You mentioned on draft night kind of having Ryan in place, bringing a level of unprecedented spending before. Do you kind of anticipate that this is the level that you're going to be at now? Do you anticipate making other moves down the line? Obviously you'll always...
Yeah. You know me well enough, Eric. That's what, kind of what I said what was it, like midnight after the draft stuff, and I was on like a 6th Red Bull. The team building is all part of it, so I couldn't say much about that. Not that I knew that was going to happen either during, after the draft, but that's just one part. And then we get through free agency. I think for now, it's something where you start looking at, the edges of the roster and two ways and things like that, where there's opportunities to develop or improve or things like that. I don't see it as we've accomplished the bulk of our work that needs to be accomplished going into the season. Obviously we get into the season, we see how things go. Everything is kind of up for grabs that way. But for right now, that's, there'll be a few other additions, changes, things like that, but nothing that really affects the bulk of the team at this time.
With the, with the premise that you guys have aspirations to win at the highest level in the season, is next year an important year for you guys?
Every year is an important year, Tony. I think we've sat up here and said it, every year, and it, may sound cliche for you guys, but from the Millers to Ryan and his group, we're all committed to putting the best possible team, given options and things that have gone on the floor. And so I think these moves have given us a chance to do that. Now we have to go out on the court and perform and be connected and stay healthy and compete. But certainly it's at the levels that Ryan's shown his commitment. That's not a one-year thing. It's just our commitment to building the best roster possible, given the vast resources that he's committed to the team. And trying to use those on a year-by-year basis. So long story short, yes, it's an important season. Next year's important too, and the year after. But for right now, I'm going to focus on, what we've accomplished so far on paper, and we're excited about it. So to go into the season with, like I said before, some continuity, a little bit of change. I think guys are looking forward to having a full season without the compressed part. And we'll see what that looks like this year, even though we've had a compressed off season. And we'll get started here. 6 weeks or 5 weeks, 5 weeks? It's amazing. It's amazing.
What's Jared's status, and will he be able to play in summer league?
So Jared's on a full, workout regimen, individually, basically in a return to play protocol from being off in the off season. I kind of feel like if Vegas was 10 days later in summer league that he'd play, but he hasn't had contact in a while, and I don't want his first contact necessarily from our health performance team or coaching staff. There's no need to have his first contact be in like competitive live games. I think we'll be able to accomplish a lot of that in sort of our open gym period after Labor Day, sort of those 2 or 3 weeks before camp starts. But he's doing great. He's going full bore right now. He's chomping at the bit to play, but just having him be patient.
Any other questions in the room before we go to Zoom?
Can I ask about the guys who've been on Summer League so far? What have you seen from Trent Forrest and his growth?
I'm really excited for these guys that have been in our program. Some of them haven't played any games for 18 months. So for them to get on the court in competitive environments, Trent certainly had some minutes this year. And I think that experience has translated to him being able to connect guys on the court with his teammates. So our coaching staffs have done an unbelievable job with Jazz Blue and Jazz White. Really proud for them to be able to show what we kind of know every day, but that they can show how well coached, how connected these guys are. Even in a short period of time with a lot of guys coming in that don't know our system, to be able to play well and a good brand of basketball.
I know being asked if you feel like you got better is a little bit of a tough question, especially without seeing how it all comes together, but do you feel pleased with the way that the off-season has gone for you?
Yeah, I do, Sarah. We had a plan that we set out to try to accomplish, and I think we've done that. You caveated the question as well, just, are we better? I think that we're giving ourselves a chance to be better, and we were already very good to excellent. So this will be the start of a long season that you want to get off to a good start if you can and be connected. That's where the continuity comes in, and maybe even the short turnaround benefits us a little bit because of that. We'll see what the schedule's like. We'll be waiting for that in the next couple weeks, I would imagine, and see is it truly what it was 2 years ago. Back-to-backs, travel, all of those things. But I think we've got a group of guys on the court that will connect easily and quickly and be a good product for the city, for the state and the fans, and a good product for them to watch.
Also, I was wondering, I don't want you to try to speak for Quinn, but in conversations that you've had with him, as the moves that you made progressed throughout the last week, does it feel like he's excited about what the roster will look like this season?
What I love about Quinn, he gives so much of himself, and his staff gives so much of himself, whether it's the season or, especially needing a little break after the season. But once he comes back energized and engaged and prepared, and he's just been a great partner for this. So I won't speak for him, but I think that, doing this with him and Ryan, the ownership group, I think the results, we've been very pleased.